I've been literally trying for hours. So how many stars is this? Hello guys, welcome back to 3 stars only, where I try to full clear the abyss with only 3-star weapons and artifacts. In today's episode, we will attempt to get to the upper floors of the abyss. However, the slight problem is that we're only AR25, so the first goal is to get to AR30 to further level up our characters. So I want to do some ley lines because in the last episode, we got through floor 6 and in the process sacrificed all of our Mora. After a couple runs, I now have enough Mora for some upgrade. Then I remember that we can finally do weekly challenges now. So I head up to beat up the Velen, or at least that was the plan, because not only did I not one cycle him, but even 2 cycles was not enough. And I think this is actually a first time ever since I fought the Velen for the first time that I didn't one cycle him. But as they say, third time's the charm, and I finally took him down and got quite a little bit of artifacts. Maybe I should prioritize doing this more often. And out of those artifacts, I actually got another cryo goblet that can potentially be better. Well, you never know, maybe the next row will be crit. Well, okay, never mind. I give that to Kaya because it's only our second ever cryo goblet, and this is his current stats. Not that great to be honest, so we're gonna try to make some improvements. Then I realized that Stygian onslaught is now available to us, and I couldn't help but wonder how far this account could go. So immediately I went there and tried to unlock it. I skipped all the dialogues both on my main and this account, so I'm not sure what's going on, but apparently it's some dangerous outbreak, and Natlan and Kaching are here to warn us about the potential threat. But ignoring all of that because we're here to save the world. So I attempted the first level, which wasn't that bad at all. The enemies are level 40, so it's not too high for us. And we're given a full 10 minutes to beat it.
So we just gotta make sure that we don't die.
And the nice thing about the lower difficulties is that you can share teammates, artifacts, and weapons between each boss. Something you can't do in difficulty 5 and 6. So for the lava dragon, I actually switched in Kale for some burning to fill up the boss's gauge faster. Other than that, the fight was pretty straightforward, so I just dropped all the available skills and beat it after stunning it twice. Last is the secret source automaton, which needs cryo to lower its resistances. The real problem with this challenge is really the lack of energy. We don't really have any access to Fav weapons, so it's really tough to get everyone's burst on cooldown. And using ER weapons or ER sands will worsen our already low damage. But min-maxing is for another time, as we finally managed to beat the first difficulty of Stygian onslaught and got 150 primos for our troubles, and I decided to call it a day here. Next day, we continued to farm more ley lines to prep for the upgrades that will be available to us later. So I did 4 runs to replenish the XP books and then went to farm for Kaya a little bit. We don't really have a tough time breaking down his shield, but the real problem is that our main source of damage is cryo, and this boss has increased cryo resistances, so it is such a pain to deal with because as you can see, we literally deal like no damage. So after a while, we finally managed to defeat it and got our mats. And also got this piece that can potentially be good because 3-star artifacts can only have 2 lines at most to start with, which this one does have, and both of the substats are really useful. So I'll roll it at another time because we don't really have any fodder right now. And with that, we finally managed to get Kaya up to level 50 alongside with his talents, but we don't really have enough materials for his skill, and I've been running into this problem a lot with this challenge, and it's really annoying because lower world level don't really drop that many materials, so the time that it takes to farm is much longer, plus the fact that our characters are much weaker, so that further adds to the time. Luckily, I still managed to get Traveler's Burst up. Every little bit helps because our team is really weak right now. Then we went to farm for some Pyro Registrying for Xiangling. The main reason isn't because we need to upgrade Xiangling right now, because as you can see of how many we have right now, but mainly this is because this is the easiest boss for me to fight, and the other bosses would take like 5 minutes each. So I decided to just farm this one first. And now it's time to level up Skirk. So we head on over to Natlan and first try to unlock the Statue of the Seven so we can see better. This feature that Genshin added is actually so useful because back in the days, you actually have to go to YouTube to find out where the bosses are. But now, there's a trail for you to follow and it leads you straight to where the boss is. But this boss is so difficult for us right now because not only that we deal no damage, the boss has a shield phase that we cannot break unless we have Kaya's burst up. So it will one-shot us if we don't manage to take the shield down in time. So I had to make sure that his burst is always up for this phase and also use Traveler's whole skill along with some Skirk attack to take it down. Now afterwards we were rewarded but only with 1 drop. So I checked again to see how many drops she actually needs and realized, like, why is she Miss International, man? She needs mats from Fontaine as well, so we can't even upgrade her right now. Plus the fact that we need another drop, so we went back to fight the boss and died multiple times due to not being able to break down the shield fast enough. Like, why do they design such an annoying boss? Finally, after a lot of tries, we defeated it and got what we came here for. Now it's time to actually farm for these flowers so we can stay local to Natlan for now. And I decided to turn into this Electrosaurian. Saurian? I don't know how to say it. But anyways, I got quest locked again. Please let me go. Let me go. Let me out. Let me out. After a slight mental breakdown, we made it out and headed straight to where the statue of 7 is, and then I used Stygian again for a faster ride. And to be honest, I really enjoy exploration in Natlan due to all the quality of life stuff that they added, like to travel across the map faster, so definitely by far my favorite region to explore in. And let me know what your favorites are in the comments, and also least favorite region to explore. My least favorite is definitely Sumeru, because we had to run endlessly in the desert, and those things that you can pull didn't really provide enough assistance. But anyways,
It's time to farm.
Hurry.
we have gotten enough flowers for a skirk now, and it's time to head to Fontaine to beat up some robots. Luckily, they are very abundant, and after killing many of them, I got distracted and upgraded some pieces, where we got a really good piece here that rolled into crit twice.
Nice.
I believe that this is our first ever. But anyways, after a bit of painful farming later, we finally got Skirk up to level 50. And guess what you need to level up her talents with? That is right, more mechs. So we have to go back to farming. It's really annoying because these are quite tanky for us right now. And sometimes the small one don't even drop anything. So it's really a pain to farm. Along the way, we got quest locked again. Oh my god, what the hell is this? Get me out. Get me out.
By now you can probably tell that I don't really enjoy doing quests, but after completing it
And farm a little bit more, we finally got enough to upgrade Skirt. But there's a slight oversight because I have not yet farmed for her talent books.
Domain is not available. What do you mean domain is not available? Yo, you can't even do it yet. Why did I farm for all of those just for me to not be able to do it?
That is another thing that Genshin really need to fix, because at this point in the game, there should be no reason why it's time gated. So I went back to Catherine to collect our daily rewards and was given this random mission. So I went all the way to the base near Dragonspine to find Iris. I didn't read the dialogue, but it doesn't seem too important, but it was at least some EXP, and now we're AR28. Then I went back to Natlan, fought some enemies, and made our way to Skirk's talent domain. I just wanted to unlock it in advance, but to my surprise, because there's a limited time event right now, everything is available, as it should always be. So I went in and struggled a lot with these Natlan warriors, and finally got her rewards and got her skill up to 2. However, we don't have enough for her burst because we need even more mechs. I actually farmed for those for like the past hour, and still it was not enough. So I held off further upgrades and went back to Liyue to continue the archon quest for the needed EXP to reach AR30. We talked to some locals about the rite of descension before heading up to where it actually is and give our prayers, or at least I think that's what it is. Then we joined the crowd as the ceremony starts and met Ningguang for the first time ever, where she shows off her awesome powers. Then a beam of light shot up to the sky to apparently summon Rex Lapis. But to everyone's surprise, what they got was just a dummy body. Like, how did Zhongli even manage to stage all of this? Everyone started panicking, so Ningguang sealed all the exit to find the culprit. We unfortunately caught some strays here for standing too close, and had to play hide and seek with guards. And we do manage to loop around, but still got caught anyways. So what was actually the point of doing all of this? Luckily, my favorite character, Shio, came to the rescue, as he also somehow managed to mind control us into thinking that we're actually friends, even though he's a Fatui Harbinger. So to gain our trust, he gave us a sigil of permission. And after talking to him, we went to the bank and grabbed his chest for 200,000 more. Like, if you think about it, doesn't this technically count as stealing? Anyways, after looting the bank, we went up to the mountain to meet the first Adeptus, but the guards followed our trails and attempted to stop us. But it is to no avail, and we relayed the news that Rex Lapis has been assassinated. And on we go to the next location. Oh my god, I have to climb up. I have to climb up this, man. After a lot of painful climbing later, we finally made our way up top, where we met this treasure hoarder that is pleading to the Adeptus, but we're actually the one that saved his brother. So after all the shenanigans, we finally met Mountain Shaper. I wonder if all these Adeptus are gonna be playable at some point, and after talking to him a little bit, we have to go meet Cloud Retainer. I have to climb again. I have to climb again, bro.
Stop it.
So realizing that I actually have to climb more mountains, before that, I went to follow some sillies to open some chests and see if we can actually get some white tassels. But you already know the result. Of course we don't get anything. And after some more painful climbing, I remember about this puzzle that where you have to align 3 birds in one direction to get a bunch of chests. So I got the first one in place, and also saw this animal thing that I forgot the name, beat it, and also got nothing. Then I continued the quest and went back to cook up some dishes for Shang Yun and was finally let in. This time I'm actually switching Shang Ling for Amber because I remember that this domain has a lot of pyro puzzles. And what do you know, the first thing that we see is a pyro monument, annoyingly accompanied by some cryo slimes. So after taking care of all of those and some more mobs, we arrive at another pyro monument puzzle. That was pretty easy, so we just grabbed a white tassel-less chest and went forward. Now I totally thought that we can make it to the wind current from here if we jump, but nope, we can't. So what we actually had to do was to make a bridge that we can actually go there and then slide this over to finally meet Cloud Retainer. And she doesn't seem to like us that much and keeps shooing us away. And then we went to meet Xiao, and he wants to beat us up for some reason. So we had to go to the kitchen to make his favorite dish in order to soothe him, but the chef doesn't want to because apparently there's a ghost in the kitchen. We then met up with the ghost and nicely told her not to scare people anymore. Afterwards, the scared chef finally agrees to make us a bowl of almond tofu, which we used to bribe Xiao and told him the bad news about Rex Lapis. We then level up some more disappointing artifacts and met up with Chio again, where he took us to a rather shady restaurant to meet up with Zhongli. Then went back to the mountains to find the other two birds and then climbed back up for 3 of these chests. And surely, this is our time now.
There's no way I don't get a white tassel here. That's so useless. I don't need that. Oh! We finally got the white tassel. We finally got it. Oh my god. We finally got it. We finally got it. Put it on Shangling right now. Where's Shangling? We finally got it.
After our long search, we finally were able to get white tassel. So immediately I leveled it up to 20 and went straight to the material domain where 1 run was enough, but we're missing some Fatui agent drop. So we quickly tracked some of them down and got white tassel to level 40 and then 50. So this is our Shangling build right now. It's not the best crit ratio, but we're building towards a better one. Then I went to farm some Abyss Mages to upgrade 2 of the Harbinger of Dawn to level 50. In the process, we actually made it to AR29, so I went back to Catherine to claim a reward before continuing with the Archon quest to get to AR30. Our first mission is to get some jade, but the seller is actually a scammer, so we took some samples to Mondstadt to heat it up for authentication and returned to Liyue to buy the correct one. Now we have to make all the way back up top, which I have to manually run up because I totally forgot about the teleport waypoint above the mountain. But then we realized that alone wasn't enough, so we head back to the city to gather some more materials for this lady and offer the result to the Statue of the Seven. Then we went to talk to Madame Ping and was allowed to her domain to clear out a bunch of slimes over and over before collecting the cleansing bell. I thought that was it for the material gathering, but no, we have to haggle with some merchants, where I totally did not lowball them and miss out on the deal. We then met up with Chi and somehow ended up finding Clash Royale's expo, and rudely it got interrupted by the treasure hoarders when we're trying to fix it up. While trying to fight them, I accidentally flung this guy down and he didn't die annoyingly enough, so I had to go all the way down to take care of him before making my way up again. Like, Genshin should really limit this interaction because it's really annoying and it happens way too often. And after not being able to find the Coco Goat, we went back to Gigi and then saw Baishu, where he attempted to scam us. Eventually we got the incense and then went back to offer it, where we got sucked into a cutscene. And afterwards, Gan Yu showed up and personally sent out an invitation from Ningguang for us to visit the Jade Chamber. And that concludes this part of the Archon quest, and now we're so close to AR30. But firstly, we have to claim the reward and level up some artifacts, where once again it is tragic. You know, I really thought we would have an easier time because 3-star artifacts are easier to come across, but maybe we actually have to do some artifact domain runs to actually get some good ones. Anyways, we turned Traveler back into Geo because this one-time domain has a Geo puzzle that I quite frankly don't understand at all. But after randomly poking at it for 10 minutes, I finally unlocked it and kill off the mobs up ahead to get a luxurious chest on top of the 500 EXP. Another exciting thing is that now reputation reward for Liyue is now unlocked, and this is extremely significant because at level 3 we can finally condense our resin, which is a huge time saver for the run, but that's for another time, as we head back to farm for some materials to get Harbinger of Dawn up to 60. And with that, we had just enough EXP to make it to AR30. We then claimed a bunch of stuff from our adventurer handbook and went back to Catherine for the level up reward. I was actually looking for the ascension domain, but totally forgot that you only have to do it once every 10 levels. So now we're good to go. I went back to Liyue for some more climbing and collect the chili peppers for Shangling. Along the way, we also farmed for some slimes because that's also one of the materials that she needs to get to AR60, and finally got her up to 60. We also level up some artifacts again. The first one did not go so well, but Kaiya's ER Sin actually got a max crit roll, which is really good. We also got Shangling's Pyronado up to 3, but ran out of slime. So next up is Traveler. So we went to gather some materials and and got her up to 60. Then crafted some scrolls to get her burst up to 7. And annoyingly enough, we have to farm for the blue drops to get Harbinger of Dawn up, so I decided to just do all of that later and head to challenge the Abyss. Now it might be a little bit controversial, but Abyss is actually the thing that I enjoy the most when I first started the game, hence the name of my channel. Anyways, these are the final stats of our characters. Xiangling is still the same as before. Skirk has a pretty decent crit ratio, while Kaya could use a little bit of a boost, but we currently don't have any crit rate circlet left for him. Now that I got more exile pieces, I put some on Dahlia as we went back to challenge floor 7 with this team. The idea is to maximize the number of cryo hits to trigger the Abyss Blessing, because currently it would deal true damage every 4 cryo hits. So first up are the cryo and hydro for Tui pair. You have to focus down the hydro one because otherwise you can heal the other one to full. Now the idea is to apply cryo with Skirk and hit 4 times for the true damage. Then switch to Sucrose to infuse her burst for more cryo, because the true damage pierced through even the cryo shield. The real problem, however, is with the second wave, because there's 3 for Tui agents at level 65, so they pack a big punch, so without proper dodging, the electro one can actually one-shot my characters because they're at really low levels still. But after playing more carefully, we managed to beat the first 2 for Tui of the second wave and play very slowly to minimize damage, and got through the second side with over a minute and a half to go. Now the lineup is rather similar, with the difference being the range for Tui right here, which can be dealt with Traveler's Burst to put him in a corner, so it can deal with the fat for Tui first. Then afterwards, Barbara made quick work of his shield, and then we perma-froze him to take him down. Now with less than 45 seconds to go, the second wave is the same, with the addition of the animal for Tui. But I just used the same strategy and put the range for Tui to the other side, and deal with these 2 first. Luckily, they're grouped up, so after a couple of Abyss Blessing triggers was enough to take them down. Now I just had to dodge some of his shot and use Barbara to take down the shield. Well, that was the idea at least, because Barbara got shot down, so plan B is to brute force it with the Abyss Blessing, and luckily it was enough. Chamber 2 is more or less the same, but since survivability is a big concern, I actually went to collect mushrooms and level up Barbara to 35, and I decided to change the lineup a little bit and use Lynette. I don't know why I kept forgetting about her, because her taunt is actually pretty good, and it can also infuse with cryo for more Abyss Blessing triggers. So with the new lineup, I just played really slow on the first chamber to stay healthy, because we don't need to 3-star it again. Now we're back to the second chamber, and Lynette really comes in clutch here, because she's able to infuse cryo, so we easily took out the cryo for Tui agent. I'm not sure what the Geo one does, but he's pretty harmless, so eventually we were able to take him out. The second wave was exactly the same, but with the addition of the Electro one, which is pretty problematic because he hits very hard and almost took out Lynette. Luckily, we managed to use everyone's ability, so we took both of them out, and only the harmless Geo for Tui was left. So we just perma-froze him again and easily made our way to the second half with a lot of time left over. Surprisingly, the lineup is pretty easy with only 2 range for Tui, which Animal Traveler came in clutch here and grouped them up nicely for Kaya and Xiangling to take them out. The second wave only has an addition of the Fatui agent, which was pretty annoying because he kept body blocking us. Or maybe it's just a skill issue because I missed Animal Traveler's burst. But nicely enough, he kept running into us, so we took both him and the Pyro one down in one go, and slowly took down the friendly Geo one for an easy 3-star. Then we got so lucky and got the health restoration card, so our team is much healthier going into the final chamber, which features 3 big Fatui, and Lynette and Sucrose is so OP and kept them grouped up together. Then I just used Candace to perma-freeze them and took 2 of them down. The Electro one managed to get his shield up, but we easily took it out and got through in only 30 seconds. The second side was very similar, but unfortunately I missed my ult again, and somehow I got Pyro Infusion. Maybe because I got a Pyro Aura on her, so I guess her ult doesn't work like Sucrose but more like Kazuha. Anyways, I just used Barbara to stay healthy and eventually managed to corner them in and AoE them down. After taking down their shield, they're stunned for a little bit, so it's very easy to deal with, and we easily got 3-star, and that's floor 7 done. So I used the Abyss reward and level up a little bit and got an ER roll, which was pretty good for getting our burst back. Taking a look at the lineup for floor 8, we definitely need Hydro for the second side for the Pyro Abyss Mage, and for the Pyro Resist Shrine, and both Cryo and Pyro on the first side. So we did the exact same team, just swapping Barbara over to the second side, because I like to keep her there to keep the number of resets down, because I know that the second side won't die thanks to her healing. Now the second chamber has 2 Abyss Mages that's really far apart from each other, so we need to group them up somehow or we won't have enough damage, and they also deal a lot of damage back to us. I got really lucky on the next attempt and managed to group them, but accidentally got hit, so we had to retry. However, I kept failing to group them up in the following attempts because my timing is just off, so I tried over and over and over again and it's just not working. But then I found that I have to drop Golba down first and use Animal Traveler's tap skill, because that's only a 4-second cooldown, then do Kaya's EQ, and now Traveler's skill is back, so we hold skill and then burst. and then quickly run over to do Pyronado, and now they're nicely grouped up again. They can actually freeze us, so I play a lot more carefully this time and make sure they stay grouped up the entire time. Energy is really the main problem here because we can't get our burst back in time, but eventually we managed to take both of them down with 1 minute to go. The second half is just 2 Pyro Abyss Mages, so we easily took down the shield with Barbara and then kill it. Or at least that was the plan because they deal so much damage, so I had to burst with Barbara, but unfortunately she still went down. So painfully, I have to try everything again, and after a couple more attempts, I finally made back for revenge. All was going well until Lynette dies, and I don't even know what hit her. So we made it back for the 3rd time, and it really is the charm because we finally managed to get through without any casualties. The second chamber is just a bunch of Hilichurls and a single Rune Guard, so we just killed the pesky Hilichurls first and was able to easily deal with the Rune Guard afterwards. The second side was actually the exact same, but we managed to take out the Rune Guard first this time and easily dealt with the Hilichurl afterwards for an easy 3-star. Now the last chamber is the main problem here because we don't have enough damage to deal with the Cryo Registry, so I just rely on the Abyss Blessing, and all was really going well until my controller disconnected for whatever reason. I got hit a bunch of times and Kaya died, and so we had to reset. The following attempts were all similar because I kept dying to his attacks over and over again, but eventually we finally have our breakthrough run. By now I learned to always hit them with Cryo by alternating between Kaya and Animal Traveler. The strategy is really similar for the second side, but unfortunately we succumbed to the spinning attack again after many more deaths. We finally made it back to the second half. This time I play a lot more careful because we actually have 5 more minutes to clear it, and Sucrose still died in the process, but very slowly but surely we were able to take it down and finish the bottom floors of the Abyss, with some of our characters only being level 20. Then I looked at the lineup for floor 9.
72 enemies, which I think you can actually do right now. No?
And it's just a bunch of mobs, so I think we have a real chance here. And actually it went really well because Sucrose and Lynette kept them grouped up nicely, and the Abyss Blessing just does its job, and it only took us 1 minute to get to the second side, where there's only 1 single Rune Guard, but it's actually level 72, so it's quite tanky due to the level difference. But slowly we were able to take it down for our first ever 3-star in the record. The second chamber was actually exactly the same, with the only difference being the types of mobs. But needless to say, we still managed to beat the first half with ease, and the second half is just a Rune Grader instead. So we easily cleared it as well for another 3-star. And what do you know? The final chamber was more of the same. So we actually managed a full 9-star from floor 9, despite some of our characters only being level 20. Floor 10 actually followed the exact same format with a bunch of mobs in the first half and a single enemy in the second half. However, the real problem is that they have a much higher HP pool, so the Abyss Blessing is less effective, and they also hit for much harder. So after a lot of resets, I finally maneuvered around through the first half, but I constantly cycled through everyone's skill to make sure that Cryo still apply and the Abyss Blessing can do its job, because right now our raw damage is so bad that it's definitely not going to be enough. So it took us 3 whole minutes just for the first half, but luckily the second side is just a single Eremite, so we swiftly took his pet and then bring him down as well for another 3-star. Now the first half of the second chamber was more of the same, so the pain was exactly the same. So after carefully trying to not get hit, we managed to get through, but it took us more than 3 minutes, so 3-star is definitely not possible anymore. So now I'm just going for a 2-star, but Skirk get 1 tap by this, and it's very tanky, so we can't get it down quickly. So after painfully trying over and over again, we got back and I told myself to play really slow, but then I got greedy and ended up dying due to Skirk's weird auto targeting. And after many more attempts, hours have passed, and I finally got this run where I managed to play really slow and dodge everything that was thrown at me, and finally was able to clear the second chamber, but only for a 2-star though. So I decided to call it quits here because we're just not strong enough right now. But we actually have made so much progress with the challenge already and got 17 stars in total at only AR30. So in the next episode, mavuika should be released and we're gonna try to get her. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next episode.